Hi folks, I'm Andy from Mantic Games, and Wave 2 of Halo Flashpoint is almost upon us. So I thought I would show you what you get in the box. I know you've already seen that, but this is a full production copy with the trays for the miniatures and things inside, so you can see how yours will arrive. And I'll also take you through how points will work in this next phase of Halo Flashpoint. So let's open up the box, take a look inside. So as you'll have seen in the video with myself and Ronnie, you can see what you get inside, but here, this is probably the more important part, this is how you will see your miniatures arrive in this really nice tray, already kind of like vacuum formed there with the cards inside as well. So what it means is you can pop your miniatures back in there and use those for being transported as well and keep them nice and safe if you don't have a nice little kind of carry case for them yet. 4 miniatures in there. I'll show you what they look like on the screen there as well. We'll put those to one side for now. Inside here, we get these are the cards that you'll need for the weapon cards. Now, if you just double checking the numbers in here, there are 10 new weapon cards which are for weapon drops, and you'll also see the actual tokens for those on one of these punch sheets as well. But I think the important thing for most folks is that there are 38 weapon cards which are available as upgrades when you start to points and list build with your miniatures. So let's take a look and I'll show you the difference between them. So what we've got is these red cards here. These are the ones that you will purchase as part of your points sort of allowance and put onto your Spartans and your elites. And these kind of greeny blue ones, these are the ones that are the new weapon drops for around the map. So we'll come onto those in a moment and I'll show you how they work in practice. So yeah. As I mentioned before, there's some punch-out tokens. Here you'll see the weapons to go with the weapon cards for weapon drops to give you some extra different weapons to use in your games. And here you'll see some tokens as well. One side of them is blue, there's a grey one there as well, and there's grey and red. And these are part of the scenario that you get inside this War Games expansion as well. There's 2 new scenarios, this is one of them. So that's what those punch-out tokens are for. This one here, you can see some punch-out items, and again, these are red. And the reason that these are red is because these are the grenades and the items that you can purchase with your points to upgrade your Spartans and your elites. So you'll see here we've got 2 different types of grenades. There are frag grenades and there are plasma grenades, and you can have up to 2 grenades on each of your soldiers. And then here we have different weapons and different items. There's things here like active camouflage, there's things like a grapple shot, and there's health packs. And again, you can have up to 2 items on your soldiers as well, and I'll show you how they fit when we get onto the cards and stuff as well. So that's what those tokens are for. We then get the War Games expansion as well, which tells us a little bit about all of the points lists. So the points that are available in here are for the 4 Spartans that are in this set. They're for the 8 Spartans that come in the Spartan edition, and for the 4 elites that come in the Spartan edition as well. If you've got the Recon edition, all of those points are included too. So all of the points that are available for all of the models that have been released so far. And also the Fireteam Cerberus box, the points for those are in here too. Also in here, as I said before, are 2 new scenarios. Now, one of those, he says, remembering the names, one is Total Control, which is the one that you need those tokens for, and the other one is Attrition, and you'll see those when you get your hands on this. So there are plenty of things to be able to allow you to equip your soldiers in the way you want to do that. In this book are all of the points that you need for everything. So not just the points for the different soldiers, but also the points for the grenades, for the item upgrades, and also points for things like close combat weapons, and also points for command upgrades as well. So things like being able to purchase an extra command dice for the whole game. So every round you get an extra command dice. So there's all those kind of things in there as well. And the points, kind of the range of points, are right down from as low as 1 point. I think you can purchase an extra D8 dice to use at any point in the game. You just basically have that as part of your list and then declare when you've used it. So that's like 1 point. All the way up, I think, to the most expensive weapon upgrade is 16 points. So there's lots of granularity to allow you to kind of get up to the points limits that you want to get to. Now, what we recommend at the minute is is kind of 150 points is going to be a relatively small game. You might be wanting to do that with sort of 2 or 3 models per side. A pretty standard game we suggest will be about 200 points. That's sort of 4 people in your fire team with some weapon upgrades. And then you can always go up to like a 250 point game as well, which is sort of maybe just some like sort of really heavily equipping everybody out. But you'll find what works for you. But we think that 200 points is going to be around that kind of standard game size. Now, in terms of the cards themselves, the inside here there is a big pack of cards. The cards that you get in here, there is so the Spartan JFO, the Spartan CQB, the Spartan Hazop, and the Spartan Grungear. So that is the 4 models that you get inside this box. So there's cards for those. Then there is 2 Spartan Mark 7 cards, and this is the one with the MA40 assault rifle. So again, if you bought the Spartan set, you'll have 1 in red and 1 in blue, so there's a card each for those. There is the Spartan Brawler with the Bulldog. So again, there's 2 of those, 1 in red, 1 in blue. So you can see there's 2 cards for each of the different models. So there's Vesda, the Deadeye, and then again, there's 2 cards for the Mark 7 with the Pulse Carbine, so the other version of the Mark 7. And again, the other version of the Brawler, 2 cards, 2 for the other Vesda, 2 for the other Deadeye. And then there's the cards for the Sangili mercenaries as well, the elites, the banished elites. So there's a card each for those 4 models. And then there are the special order cards as well. So there's a UNSC special order, which is Return to Sender, which I believe is a new one for this. And you'll be able to see what that does. There's a banished special order as well called Alliance. So that one is there, because now what you can also do is part of your list building, you can actually start to, you can choose which special orders you want to take as well. And of course, if you've got Master Chief, there's a card there for him too. Let's start with the Spartan Mark 7 there. What you now do is with your cards, you'll see the cards, the layout is a little bit different now. And the reason they're a bit different is because there are spaces along the bottom to put the tokens for your 2 grenades and your 2 item upgrades. And there's spaces either side as well. One for your weapon that you pick up, or one for the weapon that you choose to kind of upgrade with, and also a space for your close combat weapon as well. And then again, space along the top, but for 4 shields along here now, because certain items will give you extra shields. So we'll lay these out and I'll show you how these work. So let's not go into what the actual points are for these, but I'll just show you how they work. So what you would do is you would take one of your red card items, red weapons that you have purchased as part of the points upgrade, and that would go into your pickup slot. So you'll see here now for close combat as well is that it's Spartan Fists. You no longer have your combat knife. So if you do want to equip them with a combat knife, you will have to purchase the upgrade of a combat knife. So you will have your standard Spartan with this particular loadout will cost a certain amount of points. The weapon that you upgrade them with will cost a certain amount of points. And the combat knife that you upgrade them with, or another close combat weapon, will cost a certain amount of points too. And you will add them all together with all of the other 3 members of your fire team, and this will tell you how many points you're playing to. Now, of course, you will have your tokens as well for your grenades. So let's ignore points for a second and we'll just show you how it works. So let's have a frag grenade in there and a plasma grenade. So 1 of each. And then let's take a couple of these upgrade items as well, and we'll pop them on there. And then you'll start to see how the card will look and how it's very easy to to see what you've got at a glance. Now what you will do is during the game, as normal, you will pick up weapons. So for example, if you pick up one of the weapons, let's get one of these green ones here just to show the difference. If you're running around the battlefield and you pick up a weapon, now what you can choose to do is you can choose to pick it up and replace the weapon that you purchased. Now you don't drop this for your opponents for them to pick up. You just put it next to your card, just off to one side, and you will replace it with the weapon that you've just picked up. Now if your model dies, you will drop the weapon normally as you do in the rules, and you can respawn with the weapon that you purchased at the start. So every time you die, you get the option to come back with that actual weapon that you've purchased from the start. So it's not kind of, you don't lose it during the fight. So when you're building your lists, at least you know that you're going to have that weapon for the full fight. Now, you might think it's starting to get a little bit kind of, there's a lot of tokens and bits and pieces going on. Now, this is just a 3D printed prototype, but we will be releasing these as well in the near future. And these are nice little dashboards. They'll be up for pre-order soon, and just places where you can pop your cards in, keep everything nice and tidy. Spaces there for your tokens, and everything just goes inside. And that'll just keep everything nice and tidy on the battlefield. So yeah, as I mentioned, you've got, in the front page here, it tells you basically how to play the game with points values. And again, it gives you examples of 150, 200, and 250 points. It says that both players should select a faction that they will use for the game. This can be the same as the other player or different. So you'll sort of choose, are you going to be the UNSC or are you going to be the Banished, for example, so far. And both players pick their fire team composed of unit profiles, extra weapons, items, and upgrades worth up to, but not more than, the points value that you've agreed upon. So if it's a 200-point game, you can go up to 200 points, but you can't go over the top. And then you play the games with the usual rules and the usual scenario setup. There's a little bit of a description, but tells you what happens, as I mentioned before, about if you die and respawning with your weapons and things, and when you're choosing to drop them. Then what we've got here is we've got a page which has all of the different Spartans with their loadouts, with their standard loadouts and the points that they come with. So for example, the Brawler with the Bulldog gun is 39 points. That gives you a rough idea of kind of where things are. And I think looking down the list, the cheapest is about 35 points, I think, just glancing. And the most expensive is 51, I think it is. Apart from Master Chief, who is obviously a lot higher. And then if you want to take the combat knife on any of those, you can do that as well for a few points. Next page, we've then got the list of the Banished profiles. And again, they vary in points as well. And then we've got a few new keywords as well. We've got EMP, which is a new keyword, Guarded, which is a new keyword, and Stable, which is a new keyword. And Guarded and Stable, I believe, come on one of these new weapons, one of these new Spartans as well. I think they come on, yes, they come on the Grunnier. So he comes with Guarded and Stable as his keywords. On the next page there, we've then got all of the weapon upgrades. So again, as I said before, when you're upgrading it with things like an M6 Spartan laser or an energy sword, they will all have a points value attached to them, and that will help you with your list building as well. The only difference is, and you will notice when you get these cards, there is only one of each weapon, and that is very much intentional because you can only take one of each weapon in your fire team. So for example, there's M6 Spartan laser. You couldn't take 4 Spartans all with Spartan lasers, so that you have one to choose, and so you can equip it to one of your Spartans. So information here about grenades and items and the points that they cost. Then there's information about the Fireteam command upgrades, which are things like an extra command die for every round, an extra command die for a single round, an extra roll on the recon table, and these all have points. So if you're starting to find that, you know, I'm doing a 200-point game and I've got 3 points left and I've already maxed everybody out with weapons, this is where you can start to spend some of that kind of points that you're a little bit under. There's a page here about special orders. These are things like Snapshot and the Army and the Return to Sender, what we just spoke about before. Same for the Banished as well. There's an explanation of the new card layout, so you know exactly how that works. And then again, we have the 2 brand new scenarios, Total Control and Attrition. I think you'll agree there's a heck of a lot of stuff inside this little pack. There are cards for everything. There's tokens, there's cards for your weapons, there's all of your points listing. And yeah, we'll be helping to ease people into this as well. So not only will we be releasing these trays, sort of like these dashboard trays to help you organize your battlefield, we'll also be releasing the Halo Flashpoint companion app as well, very soon, which will help you with list building, with checking out rules, keywords, all of that kind of stuff. So stay tuned for those. We'll be with you very soon with them and giving you a bit more of an update. We'll also be bringing you the next wave of releases very, very soon. So stay tuned. If I was you, I'd kind of watch out for around Adepticon. But yes, this is the War Games expansion, and we look forward to seeing you on the battlefield.